Good afternoon. This is Victoria Coyle. I'm welcoming you to one of the final sessions of the dual enrollment 21 schedule, Innovating for Success, how rural districts and higher education partners are collaborating. And we hope you've enjoyed the conference so far. And I will turn this over to Hannah and the team.
Thanks so much, Victoria. My name is Brett Alessi. I'm with Empower Schools. We'll do introductions in a minute, but just want to, thank Dual Enrollment Conference for giving us an opportunity to share some about our work today and talk more about the exciting stuff happening in Colorado and Texas. So we have a couple of goals for today that I think were in the that were also in the handout. Yeah, so a couple of key questions we want to look at. How can dual enrollment help prepare rural students to actively participate in their communities as opportunities are rapidly evolving? The second key question is how can rural districts form effective multi-district collaboratives with regional colleges to offer more opportunities for students? So those are two things we're looking at today, and our objectives for today are describing models of regional collaboration to address unique rural challenges, and number two, describe how rural regions have used dual enrollment policies and practices to prepare students for success in college, career, and beyond. So that's our teaser. We'll do some quick introductions. We'll provide a little bit of background context, and then love to open it up for questions from the audience. So I will go first, I guess, since I am already talking. My name is Brett Alessi. I am the co-founder and a partner with Empower Schools. We work with school districts across the country to help them improve outcomes for students and have the opportunity to work and help partner with these really exciting initiatives in Colorado and Texas. I will pass it over to Jessica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Morrison. Excited to be here today. I am the new executive director for the Southwest Colorado Education Collaborative, and we are housed in the Southwest region of Colorado.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. I'm Mike Gonzalez. I'm the Rural School Innovation Zone Executive Director. Rural School Innovation Zone is a South Texas collaborative, deep in South Texas, like an hour and 15 minutes away from the U.S.-Mexico border. So thank you and welcome aboard.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Alice Cantu. I am director of the Next Generation Medical Academy, which is a part of the Rural Schools Innovation Zone, and we are housed out of Freer, Texas. Good afternoon.
Hi, and my name is Cheryl Nixon. I work as the Provost and VP of Academic Affairs at Fort Lewis College. Fort Lewis College is in Durango, and so we were Colorado, and we are working very closely with Jessica, who introduced herself first, on creating this new educational collaborative that connects our high school, regional educational providers with us as a college.
Awesome. It's a great group. So I will do a couple of slides and then turn it over to people actually doing the work in the field. But as I mentioned before, Empower's helped with the design and launch of these two initiatives. And we also have had a chance to work with other districts, as I mentioned before, across the country. And we've seen a couple of things that have been kind of consistent in terms of challenges in Texas and Colorado, as well as other places we've worked. Others, I'm sure, could be added to the list as well, but a few that stood out to us are just this geographic isolation, the fact that it's harder for folks to be able to access each other and other opportunities within a region. Constrained budgets, is certainly been a challenge in some of these areas. Talent and recruitment, making sure there's amazing teachers, but administrators and just getting folks to some of these regions has been a challenge. Then the access to technology, and some of these have really been exacerbated, over the past year during COVID. At the same time, I'm super excited to have you guys have a chance to meet the folks who are joining us today from Texas and Colorado, because they really have shown what is possible when districts and higher education industry comes together to expand options available to students. And I think there's some really exciting things that they're doing in both of these places that we're eager to share. So I'll just in the interest of time, I think we'll keep going there and we'll let these guys talk more about it in a second. But in terms of the partnership piece, I mean, one thing I guess just to quickly highlight before I turn it over to the team is, we're really excited about the ways that districts and higher ed can partner together. As I'm sure many of you know, sometimes districts and higher ed can work in silos. And I think one thing that's been exciting about this opportunity is a chance to be able to collaborate in new and different ways. And oftentimes, districts, have borders and think about students who are in their district, but not necessarily beyond their district, right? And I think higher education partners can be really uniquely situated to be able to look more regionally and be able to draw students from across the region in a way that districts can't. And I think building on some of those opportunities has really led to some of the exciting work happening in South Texas and in Colorado. So a lot of these, collaborative thinking, a lot of these opportunities that really can create new opportunities for students. And across both of these partnerships, there are a couple of features that I wanted to highlight. We've seen rural collaboratives across the country happening in lots of exciting ways in different places, and sometimes they happen just because of an informal relationship that a superintendent might have with the superintendent next door or with the local college, and they've started these amazing opportunities. And then some of those dynamic leaders might transition for lots of reasons to a different role or retire or whatever. And sometimes those initiatives can fall apart. And so one thing we're excited about in these collaboratives, in both cases, we've kind of tried to formalize some of these partnerships through these MOUs that are, it's less of a memorandum of understanding, but it's more of a kind of just documenting that there's a shared responsibility for all of us, for the districts, for higher education partners, for industry to really, try to offer awesome opportunities for students in the region and really, commit to doing that. So that's been super exciting. I think the other piece is just kind of these work-based learning continuums and course crosswalks for programs. So by that, we mean, making sure that students are actually rolling up their sleeves and getting actual work-based experience, being able to actually get credit for college while they're still in high school is super exciting. And that obviously connects to this concurrent enrollment piece and then the sustainability and accessibility goals. So, there's a big opportunity now, as many of you know, with an influx of federal dollars. And so people I think are feeling, in a rare period of time, kind of flush with cash, if you will, or there's lots of money sort of out there that people could take advantage of, but we also know that probably isn't going to last forever. And I think trying to build some of these to last is a really important feature of both of these collaboratives. So just wanted to provide a little bit of framing and context, but those are some things that I think are consistent across both of these. And with that, I'd love to turn it over to my colleagues in South Texas. And I think Mike's going to kind of walk us through some of the more just, elements of the Rural Schools Innovation Zone.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Brett. Rural School Innovation Zone, known as the zone or the RIZ, depending on who you talk to and when you talk to them. It was a very unique and one of the first in the nation as far as partnerships with 3 independent school districts in deep South Texas. Very small school districts didn't have enough capacity to entertain a lot of different things, a lot of opportunities for our kids, and 3 very vibrant and innovative, wonderful leaders in the district of Brooks County, Freer ISD and Fremont ISD got together and formed a mission to provide the rural students with high quality opportunities for post-secondary success that wouldn't be otherwise available to our kids if they were together. So signed an in-district charter agreement, and we formed a nonprofit, the Rural School Innovation Zone, the RIZ, in the zone. Started looking for our post-secondary opportunities through our specialized academies and through our IHE partnerships. You see 3 examples of our IHEs. We have Coastal Bend College, which deals with some of our prereqs academically in some of our specialized academies, and Del Mar College deals with our associate degree program in welding and some of our continuing ed certification programs, Next Generation Medical Academy. And then of course, you have our 4-year institution, Texas A&M University Kingsville, which houses most of our dual credit courses and our pre-engineering crosswalk. We also are very fortunate. We also have 3 other 4-year institutions that we just got on board, which is A&M Corpus Christi, A&M International, and UT Rio Grande Valley. So those will be added to our IHEs before it's all said and done. And again, could not have been done without collaborative efforts with our 3 superintendents. The unique thing you'll see in the next slide is based on our collaboration, we've been allowed and are very fortunate to have specialized academies within our 3 school districts. Each academy brings a robust opportunities for our students. The first one starting on my left, Ignite Technical Institute. It's housed in Brooks County ISD. Brooks County ISD houses Falfurrias High School and Falfurrias Junior High, which is part of the zone. So Ignite has 4 different pathways that we really look forward to. They partner with Coastal Bend, and they partner with Del Mar College, and they partner with Texas A&M University Kingsville. But their pathways deal with welding, which is their P-Tech High School, deals with building and construction trades, deals with heavy equipment operations, and deals with electrical pathways. Our kids get a chance to walk out there with National Core Safety Certification in electrical and building trades and welding. They also pick up their certifications in our welding program. We're getting ready to launch in the spring of 22 our dual credit program in the building trades program with Del Mar College. So we're excited about some of those things that come out of there. Then also housed at Falfurrias High School is our Naval JRC program. Our older community members are very military inclined and provided a very nice, stable environment that we live in the United States of America. So the veterans felt it was important for us to, in our CCMR, in the military component of our accountability system, the military presence had to be genuinely involved in the zone. So we're fortunate enough to develop a Naval JRC program at Brooks County. And they do some of our career and tech academy situations through the Naval JRC. So we're excited to have them there. They're both housed at Falfurrias High School. Enrollment in the ROTC program right now is about 48 students in year 2. Ignite in its 4 pathways has about 173 students enrolled right now. Then Next Generation Medical Academy, I'm not going to steal Ms. Cantu's thunder because she'll go very detailed in that situation, but it's housed in Freer ISD. It's our Health Science Academy. They partner with Coastal Bend College, Del Mar College, and Texas A&M University Kingsville. That's housed at Freer ISD. And like I said, she'll go into a plethora of information about her academy. It's one of our stellar academies, if not the stellar academy within the zone based on certifications. Then we have our newly formed Grow Your Own Educator Academy housed in Fremont ISD, partners with Del Mar Community College and Coastal Bend College. So we're excited about that situation. In year 2, we have about 37 students involved. So we're excited. All of our ISDs have declared a promise to our students that are involved in Grow Your Own that once they receive their 4-year education and are certified teachers, depending on vacancies, they will be employed by one of our 3 school districts. So that's exciting that we're building our own and our kids are coming back to create a support of their system that they grew up in. And then we have our STEM Discovery Zone that's housed at Fremont ISD also. Partners with Coastal Bend, partners with Del Mar, and partners with A&M Kingsville through our pre-engineering track, our drafting component, and Texas A&M University Kingsville handles our dual credit science component. And that's huge for us being a high school principal for 19 years. We always missed out on dual credit science portions because of our lab, but we run a very unique system, a modified block schedule that allows for flexibility, that allows for our students to take their dual credit science while still in high school. So pretty excited about those situations in our 5 specialized academies. And next you'll hear from our very dynamic leader from the Next Generation Medical Academy, Ms. Alessi Cantu.
Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be able to talk about the Next Generation Medical Academy. We have, this will be our first year that we have all 3 districts participating in the program. So we have students from FAL, Fremont, and Freer. Some of the certifications, this is the first year that we'll be able to, that we are offering all 4 certifications. We started offering 2 of them last year, and we have now gotten to where we can offer all 4. So the 4 certifications that we offer are through American Allied Health. They're national certifications. We have certified medical assistant, certified phlebotomy technician, certified patient care tech, and certified electrocardiography, which is EKG technician. The students are able to earn hours through Coastal Bend. The first 2 years are dual credit courses that they start. Those hours are towards their associate's degree and a I apologize. The 2 associate degrees are toward their working hours to for the licensed vocational nursing or the registered nursing. So the first 2 years they earn credits towards that. We do have summer opportunities or internships and work-based learning at the Christus Vaughn Freer Clinic. We were able to offer that this summer. We had 6 students that participated. It was a very good experience for them. They were able to get hands-on experience at the clinic here in Freer.
What you see right here is basically our accountability system in the state of Texas. There's a lot of parameters that are involved in accountability. We personally feel these are 3 big components that allow for our school districts to be rated extremely high. I'll throw out some data from this past school year in 2021. All of our campuses at the high school level were rated a B, a mid to a high B. So overall, we remained the same from the last accountability year, which is 2019. So through the shutdown in March of 20 and through the asynchronous synchronous learning in 2021 school year, I consider that a huge win, and as a tribute to the hard work and dedication of the faculty and staff. So you see our dual credit completion rate that's on there. The zone is in the nice aqua blue. You see our region 2, all of our campuses are in region 2. So compared to our regions and of course, green's the state. So I'm very competitive. So I like to put things out there to make sure that we're doing what we're doing and holding true to that. So with our dual credit courses that we've had, we're double-digit points ahead of the state right now, which starting, I used to be the Fremont Collegiate High School principal back when it was a very tough, enduring time during Fremont's years. We had 4 total kids taking about 9 total college hours and not doing very well in front of a computer. So as a whole in the zone, we're up to 79% completion rate. Ms. Cantu does a phenomenal job with her organization and her academy and making sure those things get done. As a matter of fact, we've been on the phone for about an hour trying to figure out some schedules. So we're excited about our dual credit completion rate. CCMR is college, career, military readiness, which holds about 40% of our accountability at the district and at the campus level. So 83% doesn't really boil down to what we really did. For instance, one of my campuses scored 98 total points out of 100 possible points in CCMR this past year during 2021 school year. So we're excited about that. Our goal is to be at 100 points at the end of 2022 for all of our kids that have a CCMR component point, which deals with industry-based certifications, dual credit hours completed, TSIA requirements and those things. So again, a double-digit win for us in the state, and more than a double-digit win in the region. So we're excited about that situation. Graduation rate, ladies and gentlemen, rural school districts in South Texas do not do very well as far as graduating students. I can't tell you, or the one component we don't have on here is attendance. Our kids come to school now. Our kids come to school because of the participation in the academies. We all have a 95% attendance rate that the kids got to maintain in order to be part of our academies. So if you're in school, you'll learn. If you learn, you graduate. And I think that graduation rate diagram is a true testament to that. We had 97% of our students graduate this past school year. So we're excited about those situations. The first time ever that we've actually beaten the region and the state together. And we just completed year 2 of existence. So we're excited about those things. Ms. Cantu will go over kind of summarize some of the quotes and some of the things that we put on the other side of the diagram.
Our students this year had 100% passing rate on the phlebotomy exam. We were really excited about that. That was the first semester that we've offered this program, and to have 100% passing rate on the 34 of the students was very exciting. As Ms. Lori said, Ms. Lori is one of our instructors here. She quoted, "It's a phenomenal opportunity for students, and they wear their scrubs with pride when you see them walking down the hall." And you can see they have a little pep in their step. One of the things that she always tells them is when they start their class and she says, "You all are," and they say, "a certified phlebotomist." And so the feeling the day after they passed their state exam and they walked in that classroom, and when she asked them, "You all are," and they could honestly say certified phlebotomist, the energy was phenomenal. So we're very proud of that group. In 2019-2020, there were over 400 certifications earned by RIS students, with 63 of those certifications earned through the Next Generation Medical Academy. Academy participation has grown tremendously from 12% to now 42% by year 3. So that was almost 3.5 times the increase. So we're very proud of the Academy. We are, one thing I can say is you can have the best laid out plans and things happen and you just have, okay, let's go to the drawing board and let's fix those. What's not working? Why isn't it working? How can we correct it? And our 100% passing rate in phlebotomy, I think, was a perfect example of that. And so we're really excited to be able to provide these opportunities for our students.
Great, thank you, Mike and Mary. Like I said, my name's Jess Morrison, and I'm the Executive Director for the Southwest Colorado Education Collaborative. We are very new. I'm 4 months into my job, so we recently started. And really, in order to understand our framing, it really goes back about 2 to 3 years when we had a number of school districts and our 2 higher ed partners, Pueblo Community College and Fort Lewis College, start talking about how can we look at providing resources to students in our rural areas differently. So we definitely look sometimes to the Front Range, to Denver, and see what type of access students receive in the cities up there. And it's really difficult for our school districts to be able to provide those same opportunities and access. And then COVID happened. And there was a chunk of money called the RISE grant that our partners applied for and received. And then lo and behold, the Southwest Colorado Education Collaborative came into existence. So we do have funding through the RISE grant for 2 years. And what that entails is that we are able to provide resources in a regional approach to our 5 school districts in the Southwest, along with our 2 higher education partners, which is shown here. This model is phenomenal because even in my existence of 4 months, I've had turnover of 3 superintendents within my 5 school districts that I service. And so, like Brett referenced in the beginning of this presentation, that could definitely be a large challenge if it was just a handshake and a gentleman's handshake, if you will, about providing resources to each other. But because we have executed MOUs throughout all of our school districts, we are able to continue to engage in looking at building out career pathways and supporting the students regardless of who is in leadership, which is definitely really important. The focus with SWCEAC is building out intentional career pathways. And so you can see on this slide that our first 2 pathways that we are focused on are building trades and environmental sciences. An environmental science pathway will be discussed a little bit later by Cheryl. But how we come about to our career pathways is a very focused approach. So we definitely look at a lot of data nationally within Colorado and then within our region of what industries are growing, what are jobs that are going to be the job market or the growth that's growing within the career pathways that we're interested in, what is students' interest, what are the implication or the initial startup and cost and things of that nature. And so when we are focusing on how to service and support students, we are being very intentional with the career pathways that we are choosing to make sure that they are viable for our students and our school districts in our region. And so once we identify our career pathways, like I said, we're starting with building and trades and environmental sciences. We really build out our career pathways with a couple of different features that I'll talk about in the next slide. The mobile learning labs, concurrent enrollment, and work-based learning. However, I do just want to pause and move over to my 5 participating school districts in this region. I'm remiss that I didn't talk a little bit about what our demographic actually looks like. So we have a very unique student demographic and student population. So obviously, like I said, we're rural. We're also very racially diverse. And we back up to 2 Native American reservations. Some of our school districts are are labeled as Title I schools. And then we have a large spectrum of socioeconomic status within our families within the region. And so it's this makeup, if you will, of unique identities. And one of the pieces of the nonprofit is to figure out how to have these school districts collaborate in a manner that is going to provide more resources to our families and student bodies, while also allowing them to still maintain their unique identities. And that is always definitely on the forefront of our mind. We also, this model allows us to be able to provide opportunities for all students, but then also really focusing on the students that are furthest from opportunities and ensuring that we are able to provide equal access resources to them through that. And I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide. So for example, for our building and trades pathway that we're building out right now, we've really engaged stakeholders at every level of this pipeline. There is a mantra that my staff and I say that we grow leadership from the ground up. So we are asking students what their interests are. We engage with career and technical educators, as well as environmental science teachers, to ask them, what do you actually need within your classroom? What are the resources, professional development, curriculum that you need to be able to help support career pathways? And so we actually provide professional development as well as meeting time for these teachers across 5 school districts to get together and be able to consistently look at curriculum that they want to build within their school districts across all 5 school districts. We also work with stakeholders and so counselors and principals, and we help them look at how they are advising for specific classes within their school to make sure that students that are interested in, say, the building and trades career pathway have access to classes within their school districts that they can engage in, and then what opportunities are provided by Pueblo Community College and Fort Lewis College for students to obtain concurrent course credit. And in some cases, specifically with our building and trades pathway, our students are potentially able to earn micro certifications by the time they graduate high school, so that if they did choose not to go on to a 4-year institution, what they would be micro certifications in a career pathway that they are interested in to then be able to pursue the workforce. We also engage stakeholders in industry. And so you can see here that we talk about the concurrent enrollment courses that are offered through Pueblo Community College. We talk with Pueblo Community College about their advisory board, which has industry leaders on it, to say, hey, what is the curriculum that actually needs to be taught? What are the materials and the different pieces of machinery that students actually need to be able to access and know how to use in order to be successful within your career path? We then go to work from there, and we build with our teachers core competencies that have been identified by industry to make sure that that is being taught within the classroom, and then provide support to those teachers if they need help on how to develop out that curriculum. And then one of the really exciting things that we do with building and trades pathway right now is our mobile learning labs. So for example, we just launched our machining and fabrication mobile learning lab. And what that looks like is we talked to machining and fabrication industries, and they said, you know, it would be great if students would be able to have access and know how to use a 3D printer, a laser cutter, and a CNC scanner. Well, a CNC scanner costs $5,000. Not every single one of our school districts is able to access that, but we as the collaborative are able to purchase that equipment, put it in a mobile learning lab, and transport that through our 5 school districts so that students have access to those pieces of machinery, and teachers are able to build curriculum around that machinery for them to be able to engage and move themselves along within the career pathway. So we, like I said, we have that machining and fabrication right now, and then we are currently building out what we call behind the wall, which will include plumbing, electrical, and HVAC as well. And then the other piece that we do alongside of all of the mobile learning labs and the competencies and the class and the concurrent enrollment classes is work-based learning. And my work-based learning manager works with industry as well as specific teachers that can identify students who are interested in this pathway to provide them career exploration opportunities, identifying strengths and how they relate to the specific career pathways. Students are currently accessing job shadows, where my work-based learning manager brings students from school districts to industry leaders and do a half day for a job shadow, as well as consulting on projects and then building out into internships. So this idea that our students from the ground up, as they're learning about this career pathway and they're getting excited about engaging in it and receiving classes and tools in order to continue in the career pathway, we're also building relationships with our industry leaders for them to be able to access internships.
And I'll step in and talk about our environmental sciences pathway, which is comparable to the building trades pathway we just heard about. And it partners with us at Fort Lewis. So it is a pathway into a 4-year college degree. And we took the idea of building out an institute as a way to start to organize that. So we call it our Environment and Climate Institute, ECI. And you can see a great logo that we designed and some of our students out in the mountains enjoying themselves. So that was the first thing we decided, was if we were going to design a pathway that was really exciting and innovative, we should take advantage of our gorgeous landscape as a way to hook students into the idea of get excited about something you love, realize that's something that you then can study. And in fact, you can study it and move into a 4-year degree in it. So that idea that you are inspired by this gorgeous outdoors landscape can actually turn into a passion that can become a degree and lead to college success. So we were really happy to be able to use the environment as sort of one of our first pathways and testing out this kind of hook of building passion on the part of our students into their learning experience from day one. So the Environment and Climate Institute, it's housed at Fort Lewis. And what we do is we offer a lot of outdoor learning as part of that. We are building out more peer education structures, using our college students to be mentors to high school students, and doing a lot of career exploration with, say, the Forest Service in our region. And again, we were thinking we're rural. We need to think of rural economies. What are the pathways within our area where it's almost like the grow your own that you were talking about a bit, Michael. We want to keep students excited about career pathways where they can stay in their community if they want to. And so thinking through the environment, what are some of the career pathways and exploration they can do in their backyard, say working for the Forest Service someday. So just as you heard Jess say, there are some elements to this pathway that are echoing what we're doing in the building trades arena, and probably will be echoed in all of the pathways that we try to build out through the Southwest Collaborative. And that includes the mobile learning labs you just heard about and the idea of concurrent enrollment. So the mobile learning labs in the environmental sciences pathway will be taking the shape of basically vans, sort of smaller vehicles, loaded up with all sorts of hands-on equipment, say water monitoring devices, where those vans could drive to students at their high schools and show them how to use that water monitoring equipment. But then the next day, those vans can drive out right over to a riverway or into the San Juan Forest and get the students out closer to the actual water they want to monitor. So we just are just developing this now. We haven't put them into practice, but we just have that image of our mind of a van rolling right out to the river, right up into the mountains. The doors open, the equipment comes out. There's sort of a school bus following where the kids come out, they grab their equipment and they're out in the field. They're ready to go. So that idea of turning our outdoor spaces into their classroom is what we're trying to do. So we're excited with the mobile learning labs, and we really want to be inventive in that arena. Concurrent enrollment, we're also looking to be very inventive there. in that Fort Lewis College has been developing a pathway of courses where students could dip in and take one course with us, or if they wanted to go ahead and do a full sequence of 4 classes, they get a cluster in environmental sciences that they could then almost have a semester's worth of work done with us if they wanted to come to us and major in environmental sciences. What we're hoping will be inventive there is, as we all know, due to COVID, we've learned how to work online. So with our regional districts being very geographically separated, one of the problems we needed to solve through our collaborative was how do we do resource sharing when it's quite difficult for students to drive to us, say, or us to get out to the students, especially over a mountain range, and especially in the winter when that mountain range might be covered with slippery snow. So we realized part of what we could do with our concurrent enrollment classes is use our new expertise in online teaching and to get courses that could work for our students where they would be taking some components online together, but then we would also be having some elements where we would have hands-on workshops, again, out in the forest with a learning lab, a Friday class is sort of what we're envisioning, or weekend classes where we'd be doing kind of hands-on learning out on site in person together, so that we would limit the amount of time that students would have to actually travel and get together, but make it incredibly meaningful when they do. So this semester, we did start our first concurrent enrollment class. It is meeting synchronously at the same time online with some asynchronous components also. And we have scheduled our first sort of outing where all those students will come together and we'll get them out into the landscape for some online learning, excuse me, some hands-on learning. So we're excited just to see how this model evolves as we try to, again, solve this question of what is rural education when you're geographically separated. Lastly, I'd like to just emphasize 2 other elements that we really think are special about what we're building. One you've heard Jess mention, which is diversity and access. We really want to disrupt some of the concurrent enrollment models that have been in place in Colorado. And by that, I mean that many of the students that enroll in concurrent classes, which give them college credit, many of the students that enroll in those classes already see themselves as college bound. They're already self-selecting. They take a class with us at Fort Lewis because they already know they want to go to college. So we're hoping to really do an access sort of model where we're creating a way that we're broadening that pipeline through mentorship, through real outreach, through some innovative skills support, where we give students some intensive math and composition and writing based support so that they feel that they're ready to take a college class with us at the high school level. We'd really like to make sure that we're increasing the diversity in that college pipeline. So that's, I think, one thing that, again, I mentioned early, things like mentorship and kind of peer role modeling as part of that. We're hoping that that helps with the real access model we want to build. And the last piece that we're just starting to work on that we're really excited about is that idea that we've all mentioned about modeling work-based learning. At the college level, what we really want to model too is research-based learning as a new element of this and build out an idea of a research apprenticeship. We already have a partnership with a local high school where they come in and use our labs, in particular our chemistry labs, to get our students in and to see what does chemistry research really look like? What could you do in a lab at the college level and get a little insight into that. So we want to build more of that and build a true research apprenticeship where we have high school students coming in and using our resources, using our labs, learning side by side with some of our college students as mentors to think about getting excited about that hands-on learning in the laboratory space. So we're really excited about the idea of a research apprenticeship alongside of this. So with that, I think I'm turning it back over, I think maybe to you, Brett.
Perfect. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks everyone for sharing. As you can see, there's lots of enthusiasm for this work. We're really excited about it. I know we don't have that much time left, so I do want to make sure we have time for questions from the group. I mean, I think both certainly examples are highlighting that together you can offer students more than any one of you could on your own. I think we heard about some common features, the formal agreements, the nonprofit that adds capacity, ensures the initiatives working, elevates stakeholder voice, but there are also some key differences. The RSIZ is moving students back and forth, right? The Southwest example is moving equipment and instructors around, right? So there are some different things, but I'm happy to kind of, kick some of these questions to the group. But before I do that, I think I want to open it up to the audience, given that our time left is quick. So if folks have questions for the panelists, this would be a great time to put that in the chat. And I'll give you guys a second to do that. And if not, that's fine too. Hopefully I will go through some of these facilitation questions and kind of see where we go from there. I'm practicing my waiting time. Awesome. Well, I'll go to the hard hitting questions then. I'll go right to the hard hitting one. So we heard a lot about this, right? In terms of some really exciting work happening in both places. I'm just curious, what, if you had to distill it down, what do you guys think is different and unique about these collaboratives, some other examples you've heard about or that you've been exposed to, and anybody can jump in. I'd love to kind of go there. My next question you can think about if you don't want to participate in this one is around the challenges. I mean, obviously there are a lot of challenges that I'm sure come up as you guys are coming together and trying to coordinate across so many different stakeholders is complex and complicated. So that might be a question that will come up next. But why don't I start first with what's different and unique about this if you had to boil it down?
Well, different and unique, I guess, Brett, we hit home on both ends from Colorado and Texas that, it's separate school districts coming together for the good of the kids, of the students. It's been so adult-led for so long with adult-minded leaders, and now the new leaders of the new age are now thinking about kids first and opportunities for our kids. So dynamic leadership is a very unique situation, especially down here, and giving opportunities for our kids because, like I said, everybody keeps their own identity, which is a big thing here in South Texas. I don't know about the Colorado issue, but I know we want to wear our red and white and our blue and gold and our green and white and represent our communities where our parents played and grandparents played and those things. So us being able to give that back to the community as well as providing them opportunities was a big unique thing for us because that was the misnomer that if I traveled to Freer with Miss Cantu's academy that I had to stay in for I was a first student, and that's completely not true at all. So that's one of the unique things that we keep our own identities, I think.
I think another unique piece for us is really just engaging with populations that traditionally you don't think about with K through 12. So Brett, you alluded to sometimes the siloing between higher ed and then K through 12 education. And we've just really had some wonderful opportunities to be pairing with Fort Lewis College. We're a nonprofit, but we have an office at the higher ed place right now. We share resources. So we are actually sharing an individual that is teaching concurrent enrollment classes at the Fort while also building out the design of a career pathway for ECI, which is very unique. And then also engaging with industry leaders. So K-12, a lot of times do not go over to the desk of industry leaders and say, what do you actually need? We just assume. And so industry leaders are just so excited to tell us what they want and what they need out of their workforce. And that gives guidance to our teachers to be able to teach in their classroom differently as well. So there's just a lot of energy around being able to not do the guesswork and just ask and then partner together.
Awesome. Well, how about challenges? What's been hard about getting this collaborative formed? I'd love a couple of examples or just highlights in Texas and Colorado. Cheryl, I know you were there in the beginning, those early days over the past couple of years, and some of those meetings I've been in, some of them that were long and drawn out. But yeah, thinking back on some of those times, what were some of the challenges there from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that some of it is surprising in that the vision became very clear quite quickly. I think if you got the right people around the table who are excited about the idea of collaboration, that there's a lot of energy around that and the kind of vision of, oh, let's try to really collaborate. What does that look like across districts plus higher ed? But then I think the challenges are really some of the in the weeds, I'll be really frank, in the weeds details when you start to implement this. Like we realized all of our school districts have different school calendars. So the idea of offering a class that students across 5 districts could take at the same time was basically impossible because the school meetings times didn't line up. Vacation times didn't even line up, weeks off. So that was complicated. We started to say like, okay, we have these ideas that just make so much sense, but then the implementation sometimes got difficult. And I would say you can see that a lot of what we were interested in was resource sharing around, and as Jess said, some of that is people resources, but some of it was quite literally, physical resources in the shape of a van or a container filled with equipment. And because of COVID, there have been as we know, all of these delays in any sort of shipping of new materials. And so that, I think, having that vision, having to be patient and allow to say like, okay, we thought we were going to turn this around and have this in place by next semester, but the delivery schedule to get that equipment in is months long. And it, when it normally wouldn't have been, it's all COVID based. Just to say let's hang in there and not let our frustrations undermine this collaborative. So yeah, I think in some ways people think, oh, the vision is maybe the difficult part to bring in collaboration. But I think if you have the right partners, those brainstorming sessions were really energizing. And then it's just, I think the challenge is keeping that energy going, even when you hit some of these stumbling blocks that seem minor, but can really slow things down. But we're hanging in there. We're going to make everything happen that we were thinking about a couple of years ago.
Thinking back for us, I want to say that one of the biggest challenges, and Mr. Gonzalez mentioned on it, was identity. There was a biggest challenge because there was some information that had gotten out that we were going to lose our identity. We were going to have somebody else making decisions for us that was not within the district. And so that was something, once we had to have some information sessions. Once we had those information sessions, we got people to understand the whole vision and what we were trying to do. We weren't trying to have somebody come in and take over our schools. Everyone was going to have their own identity. And once we were able to get past that huge hurdle, then everything seemed to fall into place. And so I think that was one of the biggest things. And looking back, I think if we were ever to do something like that again, we need to get all the information out in the forefront and let everybody know what our plans are in the very beginning, because the concept of losing the identity for the students was a huge hurdle. But once we clear that, and we have our students, they face each other on the courts, but in the classroom, they're all together. And that's one of the things, is making sure that one of our mottos is they are our kids. It's not, the Freer kids, the FAL kids, the Fremont kids, they're our kids. And that's one of the things that I think it's very important when they come onto this campus, that they feel like they are just a part of it, and that this is their campus as well.
We have a question in the chat about industry and different employees participating. I will say this: we were very fortunate to be part of Perkins Reserve Grant number 2, I call it, and we developed some ad hoc committees and a steering committee that allowed for our industry-based partners to come to the table and tell us exactly what Ms. Morrison and Ms. Nixon and them were doing in Colorado. We brought them to the table here in Texas, and that's led to some phenomenal opportunities as far as our internships are concerned. Texas Department of Transportation hadn't had an intern in our area in over 6 years, and they picked up 3 right away once they understood all the things that were going on within our academies. Ms. Cantu even during COVID, led 6 students into a clinical-based situation with Next Generation Medical Academy. We had 11 students out there for engineering. So bringing these people to the table was huge for us, and we're getting ready for a culmination of our steering committee work in October. So we're excited about all the wonderful things that are going on down here for sure.
Awesome. And I think we just put it for those who are follow along on the chat. We just put a link in there for a new resource that could be helpful in terms of, some of that hits on some of these key questions too, some of the challenges, some of the opportunities in setting up something like this in your community. So there's a link in there to download of this resource if it might be interesting and useful. So in the last minute, I guess we'll do a quick round robin here. Maybe hit everybody. First, I want to thank the panelists. And in the last minute, maybe you could leave us with a parting thought of something one thing you're most excited about or most proud of from the work you're doing so far. And we'll start with Cheryl, and then Cheryl, you can pass the baton to someone else.
I think it's a lot of what's been said, which is keeping the students at the center of the vision and trying to create really exciting educational models for them. I guess, Michael, I'll pass it to you. Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. I guess I reiterate the same thing Ms. Nixon said, just with the mantra, don't put adult comfort before the best interest of students. That's our big thing down here. Ms. Morrison.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you, Mike. I'm really excited that our school districts that are further out and over mountain passes finally feel like they have a voice within the region. And that's been very intentional, but we hear that loud and clear, and that's really exciting to me. And I'll pass that over to Mary.
I think one of the things that has helped me the most is, and the academies, is to remember that we're changing lives. And the work that we're doing is having an impact way more than what we can imagine. I've had some of the kids that are coming back and talking to us and how we are changing lives. And I think that's something that's so important. So sometimes when it gets tough, and I always look back and I look at those first pictures of those kids that they got their certifications, the smiles on their faces, the families, and we can overcome whatever hurdles we face, knowing that we're changing the lives and the future of our kids.
Awesome, thanks. Victoria, are we off? Okay, perfect. Victoria, we can't hear you for some reason. I don't know. Can't hear you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everyone on this call making the time to join today. Thank you guys did an awesome job. Thank you for sharing about the work, and thank you for the amazing work you're doing. And thank you, Victoria, for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take
Great
care,
job. Talk to y'all
everyone.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks.